Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Chow Time Sports. I'm Chow,
I'm Pete.
and let's get right into it. We got a lot to cover. It's Chow Time.
Thursday night, got another great game, Chow. We got another
Yep.
great game. We have the Philadelphia Eagles hosting the Minnesota Vikings. I personally think that the Eagles, I think they looked pretty good on Sunday. Their defense started out the game really strong. The offense moved the ball pretty well. Kenneth Gainwell was their running back. He was the clear-cut running back one. He looked great. The Vikings, they struggled, man, on both sides of the ball. Kirk Cousins had a lot of turnovers. Yeah, Justin Jefferson had a great game receiving, but they couldn't edge out the
The Bucks.
yeah, they
Tampa
couldn't
Bay
beat
Bucks.
the Buccaneers headed by Baker Mayfield. So the spread here, Eagles are favored by 7.5. That's a touchdown and then some.
Yep.
Based off what I've seen last week and what I think I'm going to see this week, I think I have to take the Eagles with those points.
I respect it. I agree with everything you said. However, I think it's first game of the season. All right, first game of the season. Every team still figuring out how they're going to play this year. Like, just look at every other team in the NFL. The Bills, the Bengals, the Kansas City Chiefs, even the New York Giants. I mean, come on, man. So, I like the Eagles to win, but I like Minnesota to cover. So, give me Eagles ML, but give me the Vikings plus 7.5. I think they cover that definitely.
I don't really think that Kirk Cousins and crew are going to benefit from this primetime game. I think Kirk needs another 1 o'clock slate to just to get the feels back. I think this Eagles team might just be a little bit too good. I think that Jalen Hurts and crew are going to clean up pretty easily. So moving on to Sunday. Welcome back to another 7 commercial-free hours of football. The Green Bay Packers are going into Atlanta. I liked what I saw from the Falcons. I really liked what I saw. The running game was really strong. I guess they're going to run with a two-headed monster with Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson.
Yep.
The receiving game was a little bit quiet. Desmond Ridder did not throw the ball that much, but I did like what I saw from the Falcons. The defense played good. They kept Bryce Young down, and they kept their offense on the field. So then again, the Packers, I guess they still own Chicago.
They still do indeed own Chicago.
Jordan Love had a great game. They ran the ball well. The defense was pretty much there too. And I think the Packers played a better team, and I think that they're going to be the better team on Sunday. I think I have to take the Packers, and as well as that 1.5 points for the Packers.
You know, I don't disagree. I agree with both of you on that. And I got the Packers ML, and I got the Packers to cover that minus 1.5. I think you just look across the Packers. I mean, Jordan Love played way better than expected. On the defensive side of the ball, like Jair Alexander, I mean, where was DJ Moore all game? And if people are saying Drake London is the truth, I mean, he had 0 receptions last week. Now, I don't know if that's just because it's the first game of the week or first game of the year and, getting situated, but you can't bet against Jair Alexander, especially if he's going to do that to DJ Moore, who I think is a better receiver than Drake London. Give me the Packers. I think they just have a better defense. The only thing they got to watch out for is the trenches. Atlanta's O-line is solid, especially with the 2 running backs. They need to make sure they limit big plays coming out of Bijan and Tyler Algier.
With that being said, that's both of us are on the Packers there.
Yeah, we're both on the Packers there.
Next up, the Las Vegas Raiders are heading into Buffalo. The Bills have a lot to go over after that game that we saw last night. The Bills, Josh Allen struggled last night. It was rough and it was hard to watch. Zach Wilson did not play that well either, but the Jets defense really brought the clamps down on Josh. He made a lot of bad decisions. I think that the Bills are able to get their head straight this time. I think the Bills will pull this one out. The Raiders aren't that great of a team, but I did like what I saw from them on Sunday. I think the Bills win, the Raiders cover this 8.5-point spread. I think 8.5 points is too much to have the Bills cover when they did not. They wouldn't have covered if the Jets scored 10 points. So I have to go Bills outright, but Vegas definitely covering that 8.5-point spread.
First of all, Buffalo, atrocious. All right, man, atrocious. I'm ashamed of what happened this past week, but it's a new week. They've got something to prove now. You know, beforehand, everyone was just like, oh, the Bills are Super Bowl contenders. I like being the underdog. I like being the guy that gets doubted. And I think Josh Allen really has something to prove this week. He has to make sure he has a clean game, first of all, takes care of the football. And on top of that, he needs to make sure that he is moving the ball efficiently. I mean, I don't know what the game plan was this past week against the Jets, but it didn't really look like there was anything really cooking. I mean, we had a lot of just checking it down, throwing it into the flats, nothing really over the top unless it was Josh Allen running out of the pocket and fucking hucking one up. But that being said, Bills defense played great. I thought the Bills defense looked like one of the best units in the NFL. The offense has got to figure their stuff out, Josh Allen especially. I think they go this Sunday and in Buffalo, so it's going to be the home opener here in Buffalo. I think the Bills win, and I think they cover minus 8.5. I think they got something to prove, and this is the start of their revenge tour.
All right. Moving on. Two teams that I expected a little bit more from on this past Sunday. The Bengals, they couldn't get anything going. They were stuck in the mud. I guess the rain really had a serious impact on Joe Burrow and crew while they were on their trip to Cleveland. The Ravens, I thought they would easily put up 30 points against this Houston team, but they kind of got held back. Lamar made a couple bad decisions. And with that being said, I think I have to go with the bounce back game for the Bengals and take them here minus 3.5. I think Cincinnati just had a tough start. I think they'll get rolling. They do tend to start off cool, then they slowly heat up. But I think this is a game that it's back-to-back divisional games. I think that this is one that they know that they need to win, and I think that they'll get it done this time.
Definitely, I think Joe Burrow and company and the boys, they bounce back this week. Tough game, but you look at the game, you learn from it. I think Joe Burrow is going to play extremely good this upcoming Sunday, much better than he did last week. You look at the Baltimore Ravens, J.K. Dobbins he's out, I believe, with an Achilles. That's huge for the Ravens. They're number one back, and they're a rush-heavy offense. I think they just don't have what it takes to get it done on Sunday, the offense in particular. The Bengals' defensive unit it's good. I mean, they lost Jesse Bates, but other than that, their squad is underrated, I would say. You got Cam Hubbard, I think his name is, playing there, and a couple other like Trey Hendrickson. Those guys are dogs. So give me the Bengals ML. And give me the minus 3.5. I think they pull away with a touchdown here. I think they win by at least 7.
I did like how Zay Flowers was a very vital piece of that Ravens offense. He looked great. He was definitely very fun to watch. But I think I just have to go with the Bengals here. I think that it's not going to be enough with Lamar and Zay Flowers. If Mark Andrews plays, they'll have a better chance, but I think that the Bengals need this game more than the Ravens do. I mean, it's only week 2, but I think the Bengals get that one done. Next up, we have the Detroit Lions hosting the Seattle Seahawks. Detroit Lions making a statement Thursday night to kick off the NFL season. Here they are, favored by 6.5, an entire touchdown against the Seattle Seahawks, who, quite frankly, did not look that good on Sunday.
Not in the slightest. Geno Smith did not look like himself, like anywhere near what he did last year. Last year he played full, complete games with minimal mistakes, and Sunday, I don't know what happened to him. I really don't. But that being said, I love the Detroit Lions. I like their squad. I like what Dan Campbell's doing there. But give me the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to take Seattle to beat Detroit in Detroit. I obviously also think they're going to cover the spread of plus 6.5. I think they get it done. Honestly, I mean, everyone's high on Detroit. I love them, but I think Pete Carroll is going to get them into shape. Their defense was okay, and I know that defense has a lot more talent to it and can show that on Sunday. I think Detroit, they really only have a couple weapons. I mean, when they played Kansas City, whose defense is not very good, they put up 14 points on offense. That's it. The other 7 came from the defense. So I think Seattle's offense gets it done this upcoming Sunday.
I don't think Seattle's going to walk into Detroit and win this game. I think the Lions are going to pull this one out. It might come down to a late score, but I think the Lions are definitely going to win this one. I like the Seahawks to cover, but I think the Lions have to take this one home. I honestly liked seeing that Jared Goff to Amon-Ra St. Brown connection, and I don't really think that Seattle's going to pose much of a threat for them. But as far as the defense, I think those two offenses might have a good battle. Could be a very high scoring game, potentially like a 28-24, maybe a 35-28 kind of thing, but we'll see.
Definitely.
Next up, we have the Los Angeles Chargers going into Tennessee. The Chargers, I'd almost call that game a heartbreaker.
Oh, that was terrible.
I thought I thought the Chargers were going to hang on there. That game was incredible to watch, though. That was an amazing offensive performance both ways. Tua throwing the ball for 460 yards. It was
460-some yards.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Justin Herbert had a game himself, too. The whole Chargers offense looked very good. I mean, everyone was throwing and running all over each other, but, I mean, that offense looked phenomenal. The Titans, they hung around with the Saints. They covered 3.5 points. They were able to hold down the Saints offense, which I believe is pretty powerful, but I don't think that they're going to be able to do that to this Chargers team. The Chargers are 3.5 point favorites, and I think that the Chargers are going to win by a whole lot more than that against this Titans team.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd agree. I think the Chargers are definitely going to get this one done. They're going to win this game by, I'm going to say definitely, they're going to cover the spread. They're going to win by more than 3.5. You look at this Chargers offense, I mean, Justin Herbert is incredible. I mean, tough break for them, losing to the to Miami. They just couldn't stop a nosebleed. But you look at the Titans. The Titans, I mean, their offense was not very good. I know they got D-Hop. D-Hop had like 6 or 7 catches for, I think it was about 60 yards or so. They couldn't really get anything going on in the run game either. Derrick Henry didn't have a Derrick Henry-esque game. The one thing is, it is in Tennessee, and I know the Titans play well in Tennessee, but I just don't see the Chargers going back-to-back losses and moving down in the power rankings. I like the Chargers.
Yeah, I definitely do like Justin Herbert more than Ryan Tannehill, at least what I've seen so far. So, going to go with Chargers on the points there. Next up, the Buccaneers are hosting the Chicago Bears. We were both very high on Chicago last week. I liked them. I thought that it was going to be a big statement game for Justin Fields, and it was.
Reality check.
Yeah, it sure was. Justin Fields really got his face slammed into the ground on that one. It was a tough game. They were really stood no chance pretty much out of the gate. I like what Baker showed us on Sunday. They were throwing the ball good. Their rushing game was a little bit non-apparent. Rashad White carried the ball like 17 times for less than 60 yards. Like, what was it?
39
yards on 17 carries. That is not great efficiency. He's going to need to pick it up if he wants to continue his lead role over there. But with that being said, I think I think we're still on the part of that Baker show where he's still shocking the world. I think we have a couple more weeks of Baker playing good football until people start to actually think he's the real deal, and then he starts to settle down. I think that the Buccaneers come out and win this one, and I think they cover 3.5 as well.
I think Baker Mayfield does what Baker Mayfield does. He puts on a show whenever he plays, and he, good for him. Honestly, I mean, he had a pretty decent game. I mean, he threw for 173 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, it's not bad, especially him in that role. I mean, that's not bad at all. But I'm gonna ride with the Chicago Bears. I'm gonna stay on that train. Last week, they had it coming for them. Green Bay owns them. I mean, it's not just Aaron Rodgers anymore. But I think they have now gotten some actual game sense, and they have tape, and I think they will definitely benefit from that. And I just think Chicago gets it done going into Tampa Bay. Honestly, the spread could go either way. I'm going to give it to plus 3.5 to the Bears. I think they cover that. But yeah, I think the Chicago Bears get it done in Tampa.
All right. Next up, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, the 0-1 Kansas City Chiefs heading into Jacksonville for Week 2.
Into Saxonville.
The Jacksonville Jaguars, they did score 30 points against the Colts, unfortunately, but I don't think that they'll be able to do that against Kansas City. I think Kansas City played awfully in the season opener against Detroit. If Kansas City can play even slightly better than they did against Detroit, which I think is a better football team than Jacksonville, the Kansas City Chiefs will easily be able to put down these Jaguars and run away with this game. I think Mahomes had a good game. Not great, a good game.
He had an alright game.
It was his receivers that really let him down. He was putting the ball in their hands, and they just didn't want to catch it. They didn't want to reel it in and get receiving yards and move the chains. That's what it looked like to me. But I like the Chiefs here. Their defense played pretty good against that Detroit offense, which was
without Chris Jones, mind you. But he's back now. They signed a 1-year contract. Chris Jones is back to playing football for the Kansas City Chiefs.
And I think that alone is enough for me to take the Kansas City Chiefs here by a field goal. I think that it could very well be a 10 or a 12-point game here, but I give me the Chiefs by a field goal at the minimum.
Your defending Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs, are going to fall to 0-2 this upcoming Sunday when the Jacksonville Jaguars beat them in Duval. I think
a lot of hot takes from you today.
I think
a lot of
Trevor
interesting
Lawrence,
takes from you.
I think Trevor Lawrence, Calvin Ridley, they get the job done. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs offense, I remind you, without Travis Kelce, is actually some serious garbage. I won't even lie. They're not good. If Travis Kelce plays this game, then Kansas City Chiefs, give me their money line, give me -2.5, give me everything. But I don't think he's going to play, and that is why I'm giving Jacksonville the edge. I don't think the Kansas City offense can get it done. They just can't move the ball like they normally can. They don't have that deep threat. They don't have that X factor, that one guy that nobody can cover on the field. Everyone else on the Chiefs offense is absolutely coverable. I mean, Kadarius Toney, is he going to drop another 5 balls this game or however many he did? Too many. Isaiah Pacheco, he didn't even get that many carries, to be honest. I don't know what they were doing there. He's obviously your best back. I don't know why you're giving Clyde Edwards-Helaire carries. Don't ask me. Kansas City's backup tight end, I mean, he didn't play terrible, but
Blake Bell played all right.
He didn't play bad, but he's no Travis Kelce.
I think it was Noah Gray was actually their tight end too, but Blake Bell was the one who caught that touchdown pass, and he caught a couple balls. But I think with or without Kelce, the Chiefs are able to ransack these Jaguars and give them what for.
I think T-Law gets it done, moves the Jags to 2-0, and Chiefs fall to 0-2.
Next up, Indianapolis going into Houston. I liked what I saw. I liked what I saw out of Anthony Richardson. He was throwing the ball. He looked comfortable. The defense played very well against that Jacksonville offense. Then again, it was week 1. The defense played well. The only thing that happened was Anthony Richardson had that late interception that I would say that cost them the game. But other than that, I liked what they saw. He was throwing the ball good. He was running the ball pretty good too. He had a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown. He had a great stat line going into the fourth quarter until that costly interception, which I believe cost him the game. But then that injury that also occurred. I hope he's all right. He showed a lot of potential on Sunday, and I believe that if he plays against this Texans team, I think that Anthony Richardson and the crew are going to get themselves their first win and rise up to 500.
Yep, I mean, give me the Colts on this. Houston Texans, C.J. Stroud, they did not look good at all. I mean, they just didn't do anything to move the ball. I mean, C.J. Stroud, I don't even know how he played. Like, he didn't even, like, there was nothing that he did that made me, like, look at him and say, okay, he's got potential. No flashes, no nothing. I mean, I just think that if Anthony Richardson plays, he's going to get it done for the Colts. He, like Pete said, he showed flashes. I mean, he's a running threat. He is a dual threat quarterback. Michael Pittman had himself a great game. If he can continue that, then that'll absolutely propel the Colts over the Texans. I mean, Texans are still the Texans. They have not gotten any better since last year, and they are still going to lose to the Colts.
I think that Josh Downs also looked great, the rookie receiver. Their tight end, Kylan Granson, he caught a couple balls. He looked okay. The running game wasn't that strong. I mean, Deion Jackson, I mean, you don't really need that good of a running back behind Jonathan Taylor. I mean, so I didn't really expect too much out of him. But when JT comes back, we're going to welcome him back with open arms. But until then, against this Texans team, I think Anthony Richardson is going to win this outright battle with C.J. Stroud. Give me the Colts and the Colts minus 1.5.
Oh, yes. Also give me the Colts minus 1.5.
Next up, the San Francisco 49ers heading into SoFi to begin the 4 o'clock slate, heading into SoFi Stadium to face off against the Los Angeles Rams.
I'll go first here. Give me San Fran minus 5.5. I mean, that minus 7.5. That defense is out of this world. I mean, like, Pittsburgh could not do anything against them. They could not move the ball, whether it was a run, whether it was a pass. It did not matter. Fred Warner was flying around making plays. The secondary was making plays. The front with Nick Bosa. Oh, my God. Especially with the Rams, I mean, Tutu Atwell and whoever the other guy was.
Puka
Nacua, they each had 100-plus rushing yards or receiving yards. I don't think they get it done against this defense. This defense is the best in the NFL, and there's no dispute with that. They are easily the best defense. So give me San Fran money line, and give me them minus 7.5. Brock Purdy is him.
I'm going to have to agree with you here. Brock Purdy looked extremely comfortable all game long. They ran the ball very well. He threw the ball very well. He did not make, I don't want to say really any mistakes against that Steelers defense, who then again is one of the highest rated defenses in the league. Their defense is no joke, but this San Francisco 49ers team is also no joke. I'm calling this my lock of the week. Give me San Francisco to cover 7.5. That's my lock of the week. Taking them in my survivor pools. I'm using San Fran early.
San Fran.
I love this matchup. The Rams, they did put up 30 points against the Seattle Seahawks. They did look pretty good. Matt Stafford looked pretty good. He threw the ball pretty well. They ran the ball pretty well, but I just don't think they'll be able to do it against this defense as opposed to a very porous Seattle defense.
Yeah.
So moving on, we have the Arizona Cardinals hosting the lowly New York Giants as 3.5-point underdogs in Arizona. The Giants head into week 2 as the only team yet to put any points up on the board.
That is true, yeah.
And
I scored 40-0. Ridiculous.
Josh Dobbs, he looked okay.
Josh Dobbs.
He looked okay. The Cardinals, they gave the Commanders, they gave them a run for a while.
They did.
Commanders were a touchdown favorite, and the Cardinals really, they made it a close game. Josh Dobbs looked okay against even that Commanders defense. They played pretty well, and I think the Commanders defense is better than the Giants, and therefore I think I'm gonna take Arizona outright. I think they rise to 1-1, and the New York Giants fall to 0-2. Give me the Cardinals, and obviously Cardinals plus 3.5. I think Arizona actually is going to come out and win this game.
I love how you have faith in them, Pete. I love it, but no. Danny Dimes is going to rally this Sunday. Saquon Barkley is going to rally. Brian Daboll is going to rally. They are going to beat the Arizona Cardinals, and they're not just going to beat them by 4 points. They are easily covering this 3.5. They're going to win by at least a touchdown. I think the Giants' offense is going to get rolling. Obviously, it's not a great offense, but I think they can definitely do some damage to that Cardinals defense. There's really no one on the Cardinals that I look at and I'm like, I'm scared of that guy. There's no difference maker. And on the opposite side of the ball, their offense, I mean, Josh Dobbs he's okay.
The only reason that I like taking Arizona here is because I believe that they played a much tougher team than New York last week. That's my take. I think the Commanders are a stronger team than the Giants.
That is blasphemous.
I think they have a better receiving core.
Blasphemous.
That running game in Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson, I'd say that's almost on par with Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, almost.
I mean, based off what I've seen from the New York Giants, they could not move the ball if a first down was 5 yards away.
You're right. That is very true.
With that being said, I have to go with Arizona here. I need to recover on my win-loss from last week.
Yeah, just give me the Giants. Hopefully that defense can get started up again. Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams. Hopefully they can start moving on the defensive side of the ball. But I just don't think Arizona has what it takes. They don't have any playmakers that really make me scared. I think Saquon has a great game this upcoming week. I also think the receivers play much better this week. Give me New York. That's gonna happen. Arizona is not winning this game.
Next up, I feel like this is going to be a short one. Aaron Rodgers, 4 snaps, and that's the season.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson looked all right. They did win the game. The Jets won, like I said they would. But at the same time, this Dallas team it's starting to look like a juggernaut. I have to take. Even though we didn't really see that much of Dak Prescott throwing the ball, their run game looked strong. CD caught every target that came his way. But, this Dallas defense, that's the reason I lost in fantasy this week at least. But I have to say, give me the Cowboys minus 8.5. I think that this offense is just going to be able to move the chains. I think they'll have a lot more opportunities and force a lot of 3-and-outs from the Jets, which is going to give the Cowboys the opportunity to move the ball. I think the Cowboys might get 13 or 14 drives this game based off of how many times their defense can really shut down the Jets here. Then again, it sucks for the situation of the Jets. If Aaron Rodgers was playing, could be a completely different story, but it's Zach Wilson against this Dallas defense, and I have to go Dallas here.
I'm going to keep it short and simple. This is my game of the week just because the two defenses, 2 top 5 units in the league going head-to-head. I just don't see Zach Wilson getting it done. If this was Aaron Rodgers, I think this is a much closer game. But I think this Dallas defense is really showing people what they're made of and how they can stop like top units in the league, and they're going to continue to do that. Top offensive units, they're going to continue to, and that continues this Sunday when the Cowboys win this game and they covered -8.5.
Next up, we have the Washington Commanders heading into Mile High Stadium as 3.5-point underdogs. Sam Howell, he looked all right. He was completing passes. They were running the ball. Their defense looked good. The Broncos, Russell Wilson was throwing the ball. They were running the ball, but I think that they kind of struggled against that Raiders defense. That Raiders defense is it's really nothing too serious, but they struggled. And with that being said, based off of what I have seen, I think I have to take the Commanders outright. Give me the Commanders.
Wow.
I know the Broncos played against the better team last week, but I think that game for Sam Howell, just to get his feet wet, get him into the NFL, I think now he knows what's up. Now he's going to go into a much better... He's going to face off against a better team, a better defense, and I think he'll be ready. I think he looked pretty good. He took a couple shots, got right back up, and with that being said, give me the Commanders and the points.
Broncos country, let's ride. Give me the Broncos. Give me Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. I think last week, wasn't their greatest performance, but it's week one. All right, every team's gonna have their hiccups week one. And I just think that the Broncos' offense is going to get moving a little more. Russell Wilson didn't play entirely bad. I mean, he threw for two touchdowns. Didn't crack 200 yards passing, but I think that changes this Sunday. Give me the Denver Broncos -3.5. I think they cover that.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Broncos won, but I like the Commanders more. I think I already like Sam Howell more than Russ, as a Bronco at least.
That's fair.
Next up, we have the Miami Dolphins going into Gillette to face off against the Patriots.
Wow. It's a big game.
That's a big game. The Miami Dolphins came off of a huge win in L.A., right? They were in L.A.
They were in L.A.
And the Patriots were home, and they lost their game to the Eagles. I think Mac Jones, they were able to almost rally against the Eagles after immediately going down 16-0.
Yeah, it was something.
They were able to rally and slow down those Eagles, but for an offense that's even more explosive than Philadelphia, I don't see them being able to keep up with the Dolphins. I think I have to take the Dolphins by the spread here, the Dolphins by a field goal. Tua threw for 400 yards over 400 yards, over 450 yards.
68, I want to say.
Against the Chargers, currently on pace for an almost 8,000-yard passing season.
Ridiculous.
Statistically, on pace for I think it was like 70-something hundred yards, but...
Yeah, 7,000-some yards. I mean, he threw for almost 500 yards, so you can't discredit that, and that is why I'm going to take Miami -2.5 here. I just don't think... Bill Belichick's still a great coach. I just still don't think that they have what it takes to beat Miami, especially after that showing. I mean, everyone knew how good Tyreek Hill was. We all knew he was an absolute beast. But what he did on Sunday was instead, there's no words for it. I mean, he really showed that he is debatably the best receiver in football.
15
yards and 2 touchdowns.
Unbelievable.
Couldn't be stopped. Could not be stopped. And I just don't think the Patriots are going to be able to hang in there with the offense. I think the offense is way too explosive. On top of that, I mean, Jalen Waddle didn't even have an amazing game. He wasn't really too involved, and so once he gets involved a little more, I think this Miami offense is actually one of the best. Maybe I'm giving them a little too much credit here. The season hasn't planned out yet, but this Miami offense is looking potent, and I think they get the job done in Foxborough. We got the
Next up on the slate, we have the
My
New
Saints.
Orleans Saints heading into Carolina. First of 2 Monday night games. The New Orleans Saints favored by 3.5. That's the second time this year they're favored by 3.5. They looked pretty good. Derek Carr looked okay. I'm gonna say that it's almost like growing pains, but
yeah.
they don't have a rookie, so I don't know what to call it. Getting used to running an offense that isn't surrounding Alvin Kamara is what I'm gonna call it. But they were able to get it done. Derek Carr was able to throw the ball pretty decently. They were able to pull it out against the Titans. I think, honestly, mainly because Mike Vrabel was scared of going for it on 4th down, and he took that field goal when they could have gone for it and they could have potentially put the game away. But based off what I've seen, that Saints defense looks tough. They kept the Titans out of the end zone, especially when they were in field goal distance 5 times. They forced them the field goals 5 times. So with that being said, I think that this defense is tougher than the Falcons that Bryce Young faced last week. And I think that the New Orleans Saints are going to be able to really bring it down on the Panthers this week. Give me the Saints minus 3.5.
Yeah, I agree. Give me the Saints minus 3.5. Michael Thomas back from injury. He didn't look too bad himself. 5 receptions, 61 yards. Chris Olave doing Chris Olave things. He led their team in receiving yards. No touchdown, but the touchdowns will come. His connection with Derek Carr will continue to grow. In the Saints defense, I mean, we knew how tough they were. I said it last week. They got their key guys: Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Marshawn Lattimore, and they played great. I mean, like Pete said, they kept them out of the end zone 5 times and forced 5 different field goals. Bryce Young, still a rookie quarterback. I think they're going to take advantage of that. He's going to make some silly decisions, and I think it's just the Saints they're definitely going to take this, and they're going to cover minus 3.5. Final game of the week.
Final game of the week. We're here already. Cleveland is heading into Pittsburgh after, each team was on the receiving end of an absolute blowout week 1. Yep. Cleveland, they really showed up and brought it down on the Bengals. I thought that game would be a little bit closer, at least. I thought Joe Burrow would be able to hang in there and, show his team why he's able to be paid that much money.
Yeah,
but the Cleveland Browns were able to really make a statement week 1 and say that, hey, maybe we are the best team in the AFC North. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, on the receiving end of an absolute beatdown. Kenny Pickett was out there. He was in the shotgun, and you saw his hand shaking like this. He was nervous. He was terrified. He was seeing ghosts. And I think I don't want to say it's a similar outcome this week as far as the scores go, but I want to say I think Cleveland's got what it takes to beat down on the Steelers team. I think the Browns are going to be able to pull this one out and cover by 1.5. Deshaun Watson, it took him a while to get going, but he did end up looking pretty good. He had a rushing touchdown as well as a passing touchdown. I think he had 1 interception.
I believe so.
But I think as the game went on, he started to look better, and I think it might be the same case this week. Even if it takes him a little while to get going, this Pittsburgh offense is not that great, so he'll have plenty of time to warm up and eventually start moving the ball down the field. So give me the Browns by the 1.5 points.
I'm torn on this game. Obviously, the Steelers did not look good last week. They flat out. And I don't know if it's just because they played the best defense in football, but they did not look good. The one thing I am looking forward to, though, is their defense. I mean, T.J. Watt is healthy. Minkah Fitzpatrick on the back end. I think their defense really steps it up this week. And I know Kenny Pickett had a shaky game. He did lose Deontay Johnson as number 1, so they're going to have to go back to
George Pickens and Pat Firemoose.
Yeah, I think he definitely needs to utilize Pat Frymuth more. I mean, Pat Frymuth is a big target. He catches the ball well. I think Kenny Pickett needs to rely on him a little more. That being said, I think Cleveland, I think they benefited from the bad weather in Cleveland. I think they definitely benefited from that. And I just don't see Cleveland going into Pittsburgh and getting it done, especially in Pittsburgh, one of the loudest stadiums, one with the most electric atmosphere. I think the home field advantage really comes into play here, and I think Pittsburgh gets it done, plus 1.5. Yeah.
You like them outright?
I like them outright as well. I think Pittsburgh wins the game, and I think they covered the one. Well, obviously, then they'll cover 1.5.
One big thing that I noticed was that Najee Harris was not, he did not get like a big majority of the carries. I want to say it was almost an even split between him and Jaylen Warren, and Jaylen Warren looked better. Jaylen Warren looked a lot better, as a matter of fact. He was more efficient, and I don't think it'll be long before the Steelers turn to him. But at the same time, Nick Chubb, he had a decent game. The Browns did certainly benefit from the weather. Joe Burrow wasn't really ready, I guess, to open up in the pouring rain like that. I mean, it was pouring buckets out there in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Elijah Moore was running around without gloves on, but I don't really think that matters too much. I mean, I think the Steelers team, rain or shine, is not gonna be able to compete with this Browns offense, at least. I mean, if you think about it, if the Browns were able to put up 24 points in the rain, in the pouring rain, imagine what they'll do to the Steelers team on a sunny day. The Cincinnati defense isn't an absolute joke either. Cincinnati defense is one of the it's a good defense. Helped them get to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It tends to get them pretty far in the AFC playoffs. It's no joke. It's definitely not a joke. His name is Sam Hubbard.
Sam Hubbard, that's his name.
He's the guy who's always putting up for Harambe. And that's Cincinnati Zoo that they're running down there. But I have to go with Cleveland here. Give me Cleveland minus the 1.5. I think that it might be a close game. It very well might be like a 17-13 kind of game, but
I think so.
I gotta go Cleveland here.
Give me the Steelers. I know you're talking about Najee Harris not performing, but at the end of the day, you just got to get the job done. That's why I did not draft Najee Harris in fantasy football.
Yeah,
he was a stay away. But yeah, give me the Steelers. I mean, I already said it, but I think they bounce back this week. Give me Steelers plus 1.5, and I like them outright.
All right. With that being said, thank you guys for riding with us. That concludes our picks and predictions for this upcoming week 2.
Mm-hmm.
We hope to see you all next week, and it's been real.
Yep. Chow.
And Pete, Chow time will return next week.